Hey guys, a few things I wanted to inform you on before we start. First off, I'll be using an ATX form factor motherboard that has a CPU socket LG1155. I'll be using DDR3 240 pin RAM, and I'll be working with a PCI Express 2.0 video card. Now I'm going to get into specifics here. My motherboard is the Asus P8Z68V. My CPU will be the Intel i5-2500K. I'll be using G.Skill Ripjaws X series, 8 GB of RAM, and my video card is the Radeon HD 5770. Now if you're working with the CPU socket LGA1156, you will still be able to follow along, as if you are using a video card that is PCI Express 3.0 or 2.1. So if you have any further questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I will answer them as fast as I can. Thanks guys, enjoy.
Hi everybody. Today we're going to be learning how to assemble a computer. A little backstory. I originally got all these parts, well, not all of them, but most of these parts in December near Christmas. And what happened was I had a motherboard that died on me after 2 weeks. And I had another, so I already made that one. And I got a new motherboard, the same one, but brand new of course. And the motherboard died again. It was the Gigabyte GA-Z68XP UD3P. If you're interested, stay away from that motherboard. It has a ton of problems. But enough with that. Today I got a new motherboard. It is the Asus. I think it's the P8Z68, something like that. We'll figure it out when we get there. I don't remember exactly what it was, but we're gonna go on with this. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, is you want to have your case open. Mine is already open, so we're gonna move along. Now, when you get your case, it's gonna come with these little stand things that you could screw onto the case. I'm gonna do a close up. It pretty much lifts the motherboard off the case, so it's not laying flat on top of this aluminum or steel. Depends what kind of case you have. But for ATX motherboard, you will have 9 screws, and it's right here. There's a template. This case also supports micro ATX and all other kind of form factors I don't want to get into because it's not necessary and I'm wasting time. So yeah, put these stands on. There should be 9 of them. And after you do that, then we're gonna go to the motherboard itself. After you put these 9 little stands, you're gonna put the motherboard on top of that, and you want to align the holes that the motherboard has for the screws. So I'm going to go on and take my motherboard out. Keep in mind that you do have to insert the motherboard little input-output area right here. It's going to come with a little metal piece. You could just, it clicks right in. Make sure you have it going the right way. So I'm going to do both of those things. I'm going to put the little input-output window, and I'm going to put the motherboard on top of these stands, and I'll come back to you guys. Okay, so I got the motherboard in. I have the screws all tightened up in here. My tip would be put the board kind of like slanted and kind of scoop it in to the little window area it has over here. So kind of scoop it into there and then lay it flat on top of those little stands. Be very careful. You do not want to scratch up the bottom. You never know what you might hit. Just be very careful. Gently put it on there. Align the holes over here, and make sure the screws go in straight down. You don't want them coming at an angle or anything. Just make sure they go straight down. You don't want to screw that up either. And then not too tight. The screws don't need to be tightened up too much. Just make sure it's stable, nice and tight in there. Not too tight. Remember that. So yeah, next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in the CPU, because it's the next important piece that needs to go in, the CPU and the heatsink. So I'm gonna go get my CPU and heatsink out, have it prepared. We'll get on with this. I just want to mention really quickly that to open this up, you want to push down on this lever and then kind of move it away, and it'll open up just like that. Not too difficult at all. And you're gonna want to get this plastic piece out. Be very careful. There are, I think, 1,000 pins underneath this little plastic piece, and I'm having trouble getting it out myself. There we go. Boom. You want to have that exposed, and we want to get the CPU on there as fast as possible. So I'm gonna take out the CPU, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I got the CPU in, and to get this CPU in, you want to make sure you line up the notches. I hope you could see that. I have a lamp up here, so hopefully you can see the notches. They're towards the back, and you want to be very careful with this part. You might freak out at first, but really there's no reason to. As long as you have the notches lined up like that, you should be good to go. So we're going to put this cover on, and make sure you have these two teeth sort of things going under this screw type thing over there. So you want to make sure it's going under it, and don't freak out because this will take some amount of force, but there's nothing to be scared about. All you do is you push it down and you latch it under this kind of hook thing for it. That's how you want to do it. Now you will be scared, you'll be nervous the first time you do this. I know I was. Even now it's still kind of creepy because if you do bend a pin, your motherboard is over, it's gone. So that being said, do not freak out. Just make sure you put a good amount of force down and hook it up. As long as your notches are in the right place and the CPU is in the right position, there's nothing to worry about. So now that we have that, usually the stock CPU fans that come with these processors already have thermal paste, but like I said, this is my third motherboard, so I'm going to have to apply some. Now if you do need to apply some thermal paste, you might want to watch how I do it. There's many ways to do it, and this is the way I prefer to do it. So I'm going to get the thermal paste, and I'm going to show you how to apply it. Alright, so like I said, there's many ways to put on thermal paste, but I'm going to show you my preferred way. Now this thermal paste is Dynex thermal paste. Yeah, I know, Dynex sucks. But at the time that I got this, I didn't have time to order any good thermal paste online. Anyways, thermal paste is thermal paste, better having some than none. Never put the heatsink on without thermal paste. Always have thermal paste on. So what I do is I put a pea-sized drop right there in the middle, and then the pressure of the processor, when you put it in there, it's going to spread that really well over the processor itself. Now I'm going to close up on that so you see how much I put. This might actually be a little more than I would like, but nonetheless it will do the job. Now I'm going to put the heatsink in, and for this one, it's not that difficult. Just you're going to want to line up. I don't know if your motherboard, or you could see this on my motherboard right there. There's a hole there on this side, and there's 4 scattered all around the processor itself. There's one over there too, but you can't see it. And you want to line the pins right here. You want to line these plastic little pins on top of that, and you will apply pressure down. Let me put this in position because I can't do it with one hand. So I'm going to put it in position and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I got the heatsink aligned on the motherboard to its respective holes, and all you do is you push them down. Make sure you push them down nice and firmly. Ooh. Okay, nice and firmly here. What the hell? Oh, okay. I had these, yeah, there we go. Yeah, see, since I already took them out, they weren't in a lock position. Yours, you shouldn't have that problem. If not, just make sure, I'm guessing you have a stock one, make sure that the lines are, I guess, perpendicular with the fan. And you just look at the arrows, make sure they're not pointing towards the fins. But yeah, there we go. And you're going to want to plug this in right away so you don't forget later. And there's going to be a fan, 4 pins for a CPU fan. And you're going to make sure you plug that in right away, because if you turn this on without the fan on, the CPU is going to go quick. So this one is labeled CPU fan. You can read on the motherboard there. And I'm going to stick the power for it right there. So yeah, there you go. You got your CPU fan installed. Congratulations. The first time I did this, I was using a different kind of CPU in my day. I sound old saying that, but I'm really not that old. I was using a pin grid array type CPU, which meant that the pins were on the CPU itself, and it was a lot more to handle. I actually ended up bending pins at one point. But that's the past. This one went in smoothly. It's been many years since those days. And yeah, so next I'm going to put in the RAM. And let me go unpackage those, and we'll begin. Alright, so I have my RAM modules here. And the way you're going to want to do this is ideally you'd put it in the dual channel slots, and most motherboards have them color coded. As you can see, I have 2 blue and 2 black. Yours will be different colors, but the colors that match are the ones you want to put the RAM in. If you have only 2, if you have 4, preferably the same kind, you put them in all of them. It doesn't really matter in what way you put them. Anyways, so what we have here is, I believe, yes, this is. It says right there on the board itself which one's which. We have DIMM A1, A2, DIMM B1, B2. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in the black ones, since that's the first dual channel RAM thingy. Whatever. Let's go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open these. God damn it. Come on. Is there a lock on this or something? Maybe only one side opens. These don't appear like they open. That's quite interesting. I never seen a motherboard with only one side that opens up unless there's locks. Okay, so let's go on here. Ideally, most motherboards have them where you open both sides, but this one looks like only one side opens. Okay, so there's going to be a notch on the DDR3 240 pin memory sticks, and this one's pretty obvious where the notch is. You just want to line them up inside and then apply pressure. And then there you go. It clicks in, and there's one in there. I'm going to do the same over here. Slide it in to the little areas. There we go. And then apply pressure. Oh, okay. This one does click in some. That's weird. This one does in fact click also, but it doesn't have a little locking mechanism, which is weird. Why would they do that? But yeah, RAM modules, usually you have to apply a lot of pressure. Don't worry, the PCB board is pretty strong, so it will take a good amount of force. Do not put your weight into it, but do apply a good amount of pressure. And I'm hoping that I put these in the correct way. I'm going to double check with the manual, because I've never seen a motherboard with only one side that flips open over here on these keys. But if both of your keys come down, have them both down, and then just snap them into place, apply a good amount of pressure, and there you go. That's it. So I'm going to go double check with the manual, and we'll continue. Okay, so I in fact did get the modules placed in correctly. So, placed in correctly, not incorrectly as in incorrect, but it's in there. I did it right. Okay, let's move on. Enough of that. So, next step, if you have a GPU and you want to put it in, I would suggest holding off on that, because what we're going to do is we're going to connect the power button, the reset button, all that fancy stuff, and that is, in my opinion, the most tedious part of building a computer, because you have these tiny little wires that go onto these tiny little pins, usually on the bottom corner of your motherboard. If you see that white strip right here, that's where they're getting plugged in for me. Now, this is the first time I've ever seen something like this with a motherboard. It is actually a little adapter that tells you where to plug in your pins, and you just drop it in there like an adapter. Now this is pretty cool. I am really glad they gave this, because I hate doing this part. This part really annoys the crap out of me. It's really small area to work with, small pins. Thank you, Asus, for providing this little adapter. Now you have to refer to your motherboard and your case manual, because I mean, unless, like for this, you could see it says on the side, which they usually do, but you might want to get your case manual anyway and see what little tiny pin is for what, and you will most definitely need the motherboard manual to find out where they're getting plugged into. Make sure you get your positive and negatives right. I'm gonna install that, put those little pins in its place on the adapter, of course. Then I'm gonna attach a 24-pin ATX cable I also have a 6-pin ATX cable. Your motherboard might not. This one does. And I'm also going to attach case fans. I have one over here, and I believe I have one or two over here. But I'm going to attach all those miscellaneous things, and then we'll get back, and I'll show you how to attach your front case motherboard, not motherboard, USB and stuff like that. So I'm going to do that, and I will be right back.